Hey hoes! For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kenzie and I'm so happy that you found my channel. Today's video, I am going to be reading some of the creepiest true stories that I found online. So let's just go right into this video. So these all come from Reddit and I'm reading them off of my computer. So the question was, what is your creepiest true story? One of the comments is, I had a guy knock on my front door in the middle of the night and kept hiding off to the side so I couldn't see who it was. Yelled loudly that I was calling the cops and had a good look at his van as he drove off and reported it. Later that week, the van and the dude were in the news as a serial killer finally arrested. I almost opened the damn door to yell at his face. Wow. One of the comments to that comment is, shy serial killer. The next one is, I have exploding head syndrome. Take a minute to Google it if you would like. My understanding of it is, it's a seizure in the auditory bits of your brain that cause perception of a giant fucking noise. Like an explosion or a car crash. It usually comes on right at sleep onset when I'm super tired. Because I know what the fuck it is, I'd already learned to just ignore super loud noises and go to sleep. One day I had a real bad bout of the noises and was getting frustrated at not being able to sleep and started screaming obscenities every time I woke up. That afternoon, I woke up to find that my back door had been kicked in. Nothing was stolen. I went to check my cameras, was living in a super high crime area, best $200 I ever spent, and apparently the burglar kicked in the door and I immediately screamed, "Motherfucker, not again," and he bolted back out the door. I mean, come on, that's gotta come in handy in cases like that. Back in high school, I was on antidepressants. I was receiving help from a family doctor rather than a psychiatrist. There's genuinely a week or two transition period where you have some undesirable side effects, usually nothing too major though. I was home alone, taking a bath, trying to relax. I distinctly remember hearing a dark, eerie, ominous voice say, "Someone is here. Better check your closet." I tried to forget about it, but I was close to having an anxiety attack at that point and got out, wrapped myself in a towel, and rarely checked the linen closet right outside the bathroom. The voice comes back and says, "Wrong closet." So I go check my bedroom closet, heart pounding and sweating at this point. After feeling a huge wave of relief that nothing was actually there, I hear the creepy voice emit this evil, demonic-like laugh, fading off into the distance. Once I started seeing an actual psychiatrist, they took me off that med real quick because apparently it can cause hallucinations. That's terrifying. That would genuinely terrify me. I can't even imagine. I was working as a waitress at a bar in the city and this guy got overserved and was being pretty rowdy. He had grabbed my arm and tried pulling me over to him, so we cut him off and sent him on his way. As I was looking up the patio, as I was locking up the patio, maybe an hour later, he wanders up to the edge from the parking lot, seemingly sobered up a bit. I was smoking as I worked, and he called me over to ask to bum a cigarette. I was like, sure, I'm not a huge dick. I walked over and went to him, handed him one, and he jumped up on the edge of the porch and grabbed my wrist. And pulled me up to him. He looked into my eyes with this wild, weird look and says, "I will fucking find you and it will be soon." No. I flipped out and leveraged my foot against the railing to get out of his grasp and booked it inside. I sat at a nearby Waffle House until morning, paranoid he was going to try and follow me home or something. Probably just a drunk asshole trying to get his rocks off on scaring a teenage girl, but goddammit, it worked. No kidding. And then someone commented to that saying, "Your story brought this flooding back. I had a trucker call me over at work, large warehouse over one time. He was in a waiting area. I figured he wanted directions to the men's room or something. I walked up and he grabbed my wrist, yanked me to his face, said, "You came this far for free. What would you do for a quarter?" What? He had me so tight it left bruises, scared the shit out of me. I told the foreman and hid close enough to hear him yelling at the trucker. I was the only woman on second shift, and the guys were pretty protective. Not that they needed to be before that night. 6 months later, we heard a trucker being arrested for serial murder. I always wondered if it was him. My God. When I was a little girl, I was playing on the beach by myself. It was a pretty normal, as my family owned a condo that sat directly on the beachfront. I got bored, decided it was time to go home, and started walking back towards my place. I was passing my street's beach entrance, which is a pathway in between the sand dunes protecting the beach, and I noticed an older man just standing there. I immediately got a creepy vibe, but decided to just walk by him anyways. As I did, he looked directly at me and screamed, "I'm going to screw you." To a little girl? Wow. I ran all the way back home as quickly as I could and of course told my mom what happened. I had to ask her what screw meant. Not the creepiest story, but I wasn't allowed to go to the beach by myself after that. No kidding. That's... Oh. Can you imagine being a little girl? There's so many flies in my house. So if you see them, sorry. A little girl. Oh my God, people are disgusting. Posted this before many years back, posting again as it was genuinely terrifying and absolutely true. Many years ago, I lived in a big old 3-story house that had a room on the middle level that we converted into an office. I used to write financial reports late at night that were published early the next morning. The office had a few computers, and my toddler son had been playing on one of them for most of the evening, right up until I finished my work at around 9 p.m. By then, he had fallen asleep, so I switched off his monitor, scooped him up, and took him to bed, flicking the light off as I left. For the next couple of hours, I relaxed in another room watching TV with my wife. She went to bed around 11 p.m., and at midnight, I decided to do the same. I realized I'd left the window open in the office, so I went in there to close it. The house was silent and the room was pitch black, dark, and ice cold when I walked in, colder than it should have been for that time of the year, even with the window open. I paused for a moment in the center of the room to think about this, and then it happened. Knock, knock, knock. Something was tapping on the glass, but it wasn't the random tappings of a bird or another kind of animal, as it was completely uniform. It sounded human, but I was on the second floor, so how was that possible? It was so dark that I couldn't make anything out against the black glass, but a few moments later, it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. But now I was already feeling on edge. Then something happened that chilled me to the core, because out of the corner of my room to my right and from the darkness, a high-pitched, almost squeaky voice began to speak quite loudly. "I can see you." I froze on the spot. My blood went cold. My bowels prepared for evacuation. My God, I thought I never wrote that book. Any book. It spoke again, but with greater emphasis on that all-important word. "I can see you." I determined that I was almost certainly fucked, so I figured, what the hell. I turned slowly to my right and walked into the darkness until I finally reached my son's computer. Nothing there but an empty chair, but no talking now, just silence, a horrible silence. Carefully, I reached over and switched on the monitor. The screen brightened, and there it was, something red and horrible. Once again, it tapped on the glass. It was fucking Elmo from my kid's Sesame Street game. Okay, that one really had me going. I thought that there was like a demon outside. No, it was Elmo. Oh my God. Oh God. Okay, this I think is gonna be the last one. Back in 3rd grade, I was spending the night over at my best friend's house when his older sister coerced us into playing Bloody Mary. Sometime after midnight, eventually my turn comes and I manage to utter the words at the mirror and leave the bathroom, only a lot scared. Soon, me and my friends went to bed, and I wake up violently around 3 a.m. because I heard something. I go to wake my friend up. We were sharing his bed, and he is gone. I freak the fuck out and hide under the sheets until morning, and then work up the courage to tell his parents that Bloody Mary took him. Turns out the asshole got scared in the middle of the night and slept with his parents. Bloody Mary may not be true, but back then I was convinced she took my best friend. And then someone commented, LOL, he left you for dead. Okay, so these were some creepy stories I found on Reddit. I hope you did enjoy this video. I post videos every single day in the month of October, so I hope you subscribe so you never miss a video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.